Well, Chris Popper here with Duane Crawford, the longtime head football coach of Ellsworth High School, but no longer.
Well, unofficially, officially retiring. I still have to get my letter into Josh. He informed me that he can't take a verbal. I need to put it in writing. So, but yes, still doing, still cleaning up. I've got the laundry done now. I've got to finish inventorying equipment.
How long have you coached at Ellsworth High School?
10 years at Ellsworth, and then about 10 years at MDI before that.
So 20 plus years of, man, that's a long time.
It's been a long time, and it's been a lot of work because it's not just the coaching. At Ellsworth, it's been the coaching and the fundraising, because up until last year we were completely self-sufficient and all volunteer, everything, and so with a budget of probably around $30,000-$40,000 a year, a lot of fundraising to make sure that continues, and getting all the equipment we need to, and then a little less hectic the past 2 years because the high school took over the program, which was nice because my entire coaching staff finally got a paycheck, and as small as it may be, it was something, but at least cover your mileage. But I was thinking about it last night driving back from the Campbell Conference banquet. It's, I've been fortunate. I've got a chance to coach all my kids all the way through, with Tyler all the way through youth football and through high school, and Jordan 2 years at high school, and then Connor, I had to wait 6 years for him to get to high school, but I was still a part of the program, and got to see him play at the youth level, and then finally getting him into high school, and it makes it that much more special. You're preparing all week long, and it's nice to know that you've got your son there and he's part of the game plan, and fortunately both Tyler and Connor were huge parts of game plans, and we wouldn't have had the success we've had without either one of them, both Tyler at MDI and Connor here in Ellsworth. And so it was that added little bonus of you're putting in, I don't know how many hours a week it is. It's ungodly.
Well, it's a full-time job. It's a full-time, unpaid, basically, job in addition to everything that you do here at First National Bank.
Right, and it's, but it's rewarding, and the kids that come through, and they look up to you, and they call you dad, and they're, especially when you're coaching your sons, they're bringing them over on the weekends, and so they're watching NFL with you, and you're cooking hamburgers, and they're at the lake swimming and water skiing and whatever. So you get to know them a lot more than just on the coaching aspect of it, and that adds really another dimension when you're coaching one of your own sons, and you get to know their friends on more than just a sports level. So it's been good.
I know it's been building the program at Ellsworth High School has been challenging. You basically started from scratch. With the EFL, but getting people up and getting that football mentality, it's been hard.
And I look back, I found a picture the other day when I was cleaning some stuff out.
You had hair when you started.
I did have a little bit, I think. We started this, and it was nice, and I was still coaching at MDI, and Fay Bowles kept coming in. For 2 years, he's come in, Duane, we need to start football in Ellsworth. And so I finally decided to climb on board and say, okay, I'll get it going. And so the field was right behind my house in Lemoyne, which was nice, and that's where we played the varsity games and the youth games. And so that first year, I bet I spent 2 weeks just trying to lay out the field behind Lemoyne School and trying to find enough room for everything. And Connor was down there helping me line it out and holding tape measures and all that. And but then we get into the high school, and the first 3 years we didn't win a game. And I found a picture. The kids, I was talking to them in a circle, the high school team, and I'm looking, and kids got their pads on backwards, and and that's what you started out with. None of them had played football. None of them had a clue what they were doing, and it took football takes a long time. And so we went those 3 years, and then we finally won our first game, and then we went 5-3 that season after winning our first game, and then every year since then. We've had, multiple wins, and 2 out of the 3 years we've been eligible for the playoffs, we've been in them. So it's slowly getting there. And then the jump to 8-man, I think, is, we were met with a lot of trepidation, I should say, about 8-man football, and it's going to be, it's not going to be good.
It's not real football.
It's not real football. It's
Right.
going to be a detriment to the football community, and it was just the opposite. And I think next year, Tug and I were talking, and Tug, congratulations, by the way, he got Assistant Coach of the Year for the Campbell Conference for 8-man football, and so talking on the way back last night, that hopefully, with all the teams coming in, there'll be a league, whether it's LTC that takes it under their umbrella or a local league where we can have 5 or 6 teams, and there's a ton of teams talking about coming in that are local teams. Right. So it would be nice to have that and watch it grow, because there's going to be 20-plus teams in this playing this next year.
Oh, yeah, without any question. I mean, I think, there were 10 this year.
10, yeah.
And I think you're right. I think it's going to double statewide without any question in 2020.
Yeah, I've had inquiries from 4 coaches, sent out video to 2 of them, just wanting to know what it was like. And, we went into the season thinking, geez, what's this going to be like? It's going to be like a basketball game. Scores are going to be outrageous. And then you get out there and you play the game, and narrowing that field from 51 1/3 to 40 yards was a huge equalizer. I mean, you lost 3 guys, but you narrow that field down that much. And so it really, the scoring wasn't what any of us thought it was going to be, because of the size restriction on the sides of the field, and so it's football. You watch it, and I was watching some highlight films the other day and stuff that I'd sent in for Connor into colleges, and the camera's in tight. You're not going to know it's not 11-man football.
Let me ask you, what are some of your biggest feelings of joy when you look back on your Ellsworth High School career?
I would have to say that winning that first game was huge down at Washington Academy. Winning all of our homecoming games for the past 5 years. Yeah. This last one was especially fun, and then our first year making the playoffs was one that I'll never forget.
I know we shared the fact that Tug McKay is the assistant coach of the year. I said, when you're building the Mount Rushmore of Ellsworth football, Tug McKay's got to be up there. You've got to be up there as well. I mean, just bringing it back and leaving it in such good hands and building it up to not a powerhouse, but an annual contender.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, this year we scored 226 points, gave up 228. I mean, 2 points out of the whole season. Yeah. And that was with the trip that we took down to Mount Ararat with a busload of 6 kids and got beat 63-16 or whatever it was. So even throwing that lopsided score in there, we were still, every game we were competitive. And first 2 games of the year, we were still trying to figure out what we were. And they were both, with Yarmouth and Grey New Gloucester as a touchdown in each game, and were winnable. And then kind of figured it out. And teams had to definitely game plan for us. We were tough. So,
any regrets?
The biggest regret that I have that's not specifically to do with me, but regretting that some of the kids that I've talked to year in and year out, and they wait till their senior year to come out for football, and then all I hear the whole year is, why did I wait so long to do this? And I would like to throw out there that football, for a whole litany of reasons, gets a bad name when it comes to injuries. And I was talking to our trainer. This year we had a full-time trainer who was there for practices and whatever. And so our last practice of the year, we're out there, and he's got 10 players out there in concussion protocol. Not football players, not one football player. In fact, we had 1 concussion all year. And I said, who would have thought that on the last day of regular season practices, you'd have 10 players and not one of them's a football player. Right. And so I think, especially at the high school level, moms, dads, I don't want my son hurt. These kids are dressed up in $1,000 worth of equipment. It's the same stuff they wear in Division I programs and NFL programs, and we do a great job updating it. And the coaching is excellent, and the injuries are really, it's a collision sport, and when you count all the collisions that happen on the field and in practice, although practices are pretty much after 2 days, there's not much collision involved at all. We really do a good job of protecting these kids, and we had one concussion, and we had the last game of the year, we had a broken collarbone.
And I think that one of the things too is that there's been a whole different mentality about teaching how to tackle properly over the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, it has been, you tackle with your head up, you're looking at the player, you're not diving in with your head in, you're not leading with your head, and it's wrapping up and taking down. I mean, it's really been a whole different mentality.
Yeah, it is. From the days that I played, I mean, it's 180 degrees out. Literally, some of the tackling techniques we do now were, if we did them when I played, we would be getting yelled at because that's not the proper way to tackle. But we've taken the head out of the game as much as possible, and the techniques just changed so much, and the equipment's advanced so much farther than it has in just the past 7 or 8 years. That it's become a much safer sport, and I would encourage all of those players and the family members that are out there, and they're kind of on the edge. Well, should Johnny play this sport or should he play that sport? And the 8th grade players coming up, and we see this year in and year out. You have 10 8th grade players, and 4 of them show up for football.
Yeah.
The other 6 either don't do anything or whatever. But don't throw that away. Come out and play. It's a sport that, just because of the nature, you practice 4 days a week for one game, and the brotherhood and the family atmosphere around it, and the Thursday night pregame meals, and we have a lot of fun on the football field. During practices we work hard, but there's a lot of fun there too, and the games and how important they are, and it's just a whole different type of atmosphere that you can't really duplicate with any other sport, because there is no other sport that demands what football does.
I know there are a lot of people you want to thank. First of all, First National Bank, and, for allowing you the freedom to go out there and volunteer and to spend so much time away from the bank. The bank's going to gain a new employee, a full-time employee.
It really, I mean, it's. And this year, maybe more than others, it's literally a sprint every day. You get into the office, and you've got all your clients that you're dealing with, but you've got practice coming up, and you've got all the stuff to prepare for that. And even though you've prepared the night before, there's a lot. You get home, you're breaking down game film, and there's only so many hours in a day. And spend all weekend doing it, and so it's there's, you leave at 2:30 in the afternoon. There's a lot of time that First National's allowed me to spend away from the bank for 20 years, because I did this with the Acadian Football League too. And I can remember when we first started.
You're going to retire on half pay. I mean,
When we first started the Acadian Football League, Tony would walk up on the high school practice field, and I'd be there out there with the team, and I'd walk over to him, and he'd say, I'd walk over every time. Duane, you're fine. You don't have to come over every time. You're good, and we know what you're doing. And so he's been awesome, and he does it as well. He's coached for a long time. So, and it's great for the community, and that's what the bank wants us to do, is be involved. And it's been wonderful for me.
Yeah, and I know your family and. I mean, your assistant coaches and
assistant coaches and the parents of all the players. That the parents put in a lot of time traveling and cooking and bringing kids to practice, and my especially Connor and Tyler for putting up with not only me being their dad but their coach for 4 years.
Which is difficult too. I mean, because there's sometimes you've had to ride their butts, and more so than a typical dad.
Yeah.
Then you have your coach dad voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I felt at times during their careers that I didn't give them enough recognition, because I didn't want to overdo it. Right. Connor scores a touchdown in a game. Gray New Gloucester, 83-yard touchdown run where literally half the team hit him. 5 guys out of 8 hit him, and he ran 83 yards, and he comes off the field and just pat on a great job. You know,
Yeah, good job. Now
go back out there and play.
right,
Yeah.
now you got to do kickoff return,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Or
So,
defense.
yeah. So, my family, the boys for putting up with it and being coached 24/7 during football season and even out of season.
Yeah.
7-on-7 and going to clinics and camps, and so there's just a whole lot of people. You know, Josh Frost and Dan Clifford at Ellsworth High School have been tremendous. Just great people to work with, and program's in good hands with them. They'll make sure that it continues.
Sports boosters have helped out a lot as well.
Yeah. So it's been, and then you.
Well,
Doing these all the time, you know, it's been every Monday and Thursday, and so it'll be bittersweet. I'll have a whole fall to not have to worry about game planning, and I can drive down to wherever Connor's playing and watch his games, and not have to worry about making a play call every 25 seconds.
Ellsworth miss you, but I think somehow you'll get involved down the road and in something.
Yeah,
and you're not going to just sort of walk away.
No, I'll still be doing the youth programs, so overseeing that. So we've got to get coaches for next year and players, and you know, keeping the equipment going. And so there's still, I just don't have to be there on Friday nights.
Right.
So
and break down film.
And break down film today. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's the final Ellsworth Football Coaches Show with Duane Crawford. We'll do it again next year. And thanks for watching this video and all the other videos we have on the WDEA YouTube channel.
Thanks, everyone.